What is the liar paradox? It represents the situation where sentences can be constructed that cannot consistently be assigned a truth value. The hypothesis leads to a conclusion which contradicts the hypothesis. Let's take a look at the basic liar paradox. Here we have a statement, I am lying. But if my statement is true, then I am not actually lying because I have told the truth about myself. And if I told the truth, then the statement I am lying is not true, which means I am lying by stating something that I am not doing. And finally, if I am lying by stating something that I am not doing, then I am actually telling the truth when I say I am lying, which means I am not lying. Let's try this one. Everything I say is a lie. If everything I say is a lie is true, then clearly everything I say is not a lie, since I have just made a true statement. But if I tell the truth, then I am a liar by stating that everything I say is a lie. I am a liar when I tell the truth, and I am telling the truth when I am lying. Let's start using some symbols to represent our logical expressions. In this case, binary means two possible values or two possible outcomes, true and false. Let's represent this statement is false as A. If A is true, then follow what the statement says. The statement says A is false. Therefore, the hypothesis that A is true leads to a contradictory conclusion that A is false. Every time this statement is false is true, it concludes that it is false. Let's see what happens when A is false. If A is false, then don't follow what the statement says. This means it is false that A is false. Therefore, we come to the contradictory conclusion that A is true. So, what is the liar paradox? A is false if it is true. A is true if it is false. Here are some equivalent statements. There's a great tradition of folks from ancient to modern times trying to understand what's going on with such a paradox. Their approaches and proposed solutions provide awesome insight. The following are some other important ideas this video takes into consideration when analyzing the liar paradox. Every statement includes an implicit assertion of its own truth, even if the truth is that the statement is false. The idea of fallacy bears a truth value. There are levels of language and levels within sentences and statements. There is an order of operation. There is a temporal nature as well as a cause and effect nature. Okay, let's elaborate by using this basic example. Which one is a photo of a dog? Did you pick this one? Wrong. Which photo has fire in it? Did you pick this one? Wrong. Which one is a letter of the alphabet? You chose this one, right? Wrong again. However, none of the answers should have been wrong, because the photos already have an initial defined meaning. Each photo is a representation of our definitions for dog, cat, fire, water, letter, number. We may describe this relationship between a thing and its meaning as intrinsic and inherent. The meaning could change or vary, but the relationship remains true. Let's try another example. In this example, your goal is to construct a sentence which describes that your dog has red hair, using these terms. Let's suppose you chose these words. His cat has blue eyes. Are these the words you have chosen? Yes, it is true. Is this the sentence you have constructed? Yes, it is true. Do these words equal their traditional definitions? Yes, it is true. Here are important mechanics of your statement, especially at the initial stage of the statement. The intrinsic and inherent values of your statement are true, provided you have constructed a complete sentence. At this fundamental level, the truth is not in the defined or particular meaning, but rather it is in the relationship. Every statement includes an implicit assertion of its own truth. This is at the initial stages of the order of operation for the statement. Looking back at our example and the terms you have chosen, his cat has blue eyes, have you accomplished the goal of describing that your dog has red hair? No, you have not. Is your sentence true or false that you have accomplished the goal? False. Let's continue our elaboration with this perspective dialogue. What's your objective, your goal? To construct a sentence and make a statement. In what language, using what rules? English, using these terms over here. Do you think the statement I will make will be a true statement, or will it be false? I don't know. First, you have to make a statement. When we are going to make a statement, when we are going to construct a sentence, the terms we use must initially be true in order for us to use them, and for them to mean what we think they mean by using them. This initial truth is fundamental. It is the equivalent of or represents our acceptance of the existence of the terms. For example, when we use the word the, it is understood that we do not mean the word because, or any other word. A equals A, B equals B, C equals C. And when we do want the word the to mean another word, we must further define our intention. If we want to construct the sentence "the dog runs fast," each term must initially equal itself. Each term equals its definition. Each term is initially true. Dog equals dog and not cat or fish. Runs equals runs and not walks or sits. Fast equals fast and not slow or crooked. The same holds true for the entire sentence. Before we can do anything else to or with the sentence, "the dog runs fast," we must accept that the sentence equals the terms that make up the sentence. For example, "the dog runs fast" does not mean the sentence "the cat runs fast." Once we accept the initial truth, we may operate with the sentence. This can be as basic as confirming the subjects of the initial truth of the sentence. This can also be a complex series of modifications to individual and groups of variables. Here's a perspective dialogue showing initial truth in relation to the order of making a statement. This statement is false. So what you mean is, it is false that your statement is false? No. What I mean is that it's not even a statement. What? Yeah. The word statement means the, and the word false means will. So what's your point? I'm sorry. I wasn't initially being true. Let me try again. This statement is false. I'm assuming this is what you mean. The words don't mean something else? Yes, it's true. That's the statement I want to make. So, this statement is false is true? That's what I said. It's true that my statement is false. How can your statement be both true and false? I don't know. What's false is the statement, but what's true is that I made it. Aha! Is this a statement that is both true and false? What's true? That you made a statement. What statement did you make? A statement that is false. Order of operation. This is a sentence using a particular set of letters and symbols to form words in grammatical structure, all of which are individually equal to themselves and as an entire group will equal a sentence. Once we accept the initial truth, we may continue to confirm or identify the subjects and/or meaning of the sentence. The subjects and/or meaning of the sentence can define the premise or objective as well as identifying causes and effects. Once an objective is identified, effects may take place. The conclusion or effects of the sentence will target something. Targets may include any and/or all sentences, as well as any and/or all variables, as well as any and/or all parts of a variable. The effects may confirm and/or disprove, define and/or redefine, create and/or modify. Okay, so it should make sense that a false initial truth cannot function as a statement. All the terms of the proposed sentence must be true in order for the terms to function as a group which defines the sentence. If the terms do not function as a group, then there is no sentence, or the sentence is undefined or incomplete. This is not necessarily the same thing as a sentence being false. Let's take a look at this example to see what happens when there is a false initial truth. Here we have a proposed sentence. My cat has black hair. Except the terms cat and black are initially false. If the words cat and black do not equal themselves and do not mean what they are commonly or initially supposed to mean, then they are more like typos rather than lies that make a sentence untrue. Cat and black are not the words that are meant to be there. They do not function in the group. In fact, we do not have a sentence, or the sentence is incomplete. The temptation is to assume additional information, or that there is other information implied beyond the relationships of initial truth. The accurate understanding is that we do not know what words were meant to be used instead of cat and black. This proposed sentence is not false because maybe you have or meant a dog with brown hair. This proposed sentence is false because it is undefined and incomplete. An operation cannot be completed with this proposed sentence or given information. This proposed sentence cannot target itself or anything else because it is not a sentence that has produced effects yet or declared anything. No statement is made. Perhaps this is a particular example of a statement that is neither true or false, especially because it remains incomplete or undetermined. Self-reference, sentences that target themselves. B is an instruction which directs us to modify B. B targets B. We cannot target and modify B if B is not true or does not exist. If there is no B, then there is no instruction from B. Before we can do anything to B, the first logical recognition and representation is that B exists. It is true. B equals B. Before we can define that B equals C, there must first be a B that exists, as well as a C, in order to define something about it. At the fundamental and initial stage, it is impossible for us to mention anything about B without there being some kind of truth for B, even if what we mention is that there is no such thing as B. The act of mentioning B can equal the truth or existence of B. All right. Let's get into the crazy reasonings of sentences that define non-existence. The following will demonstrate. This is the statement N, which uses the letter B. This statement defines that there is no such thing as the letter B. How can there be no such thing as the letter B if the letter B is being used in the statement N? The closest we can come to eliminating the existence of the letter B by making a statement that uses the letter B is to define that B does not exist in all instances other than the instance of our statement N. The letter B only exists in this particular statement N and nowhere else. Sounds reasonable enough, right? Now, have a look at the logic in all its technicalities. I'm still not sure if it's perfect, but it gives you an idea of the difficulty of defining a non-existence and keeping it non-existent. I'll try and have these 18 statements displayed in the About vid description. Don't fret, there are rational recognitions here. We cannot target a thing that does not exist. We cannot eliminate B if there is no such thing as B. We cannot eliminate things that do not exist. Things that do not exist are not things at all. We cannot act on or target a non-existence. In this sense, when we target a non-existence, we're really targeting and talking about an idea. The reason it is necessary to mention this is because an idea may exist while the subject of the idea may only exist within the context of the statement of the idea, or may not exist at all. Sentences that represent and/or define non-existence behave as ideas or as abstracts. The act of representing and/or defining B can equal the truth or existence of B. Also, a sentence may represent and/or define the non-existence of a thing that once existed. For example, this is a text box that defines that there is no such thing as a text box. Our instincts might want to consider the order of operations simultaneously. If there is no such thing as a text box, then that statement is false, because that statement also defines that it is a text box. But then again, the reason we are concluding that the statement is false is because there is a text box, which means the statement is true. Because there is a text box, there is no such thing as a text box. Exactly what's going on here. When this is true, this is false. However, when this is true, this is false. Because there is a text box, there is no such thing as a text box, right? So, what we're seeing is that there is a temporal nature to the order of operations. Let's look at the text box example again. If this is a text box, then there is no such thing as a text box. In order for this to be true, this has to be true. There is no way to contradict this or conclude it is false without it being true. If we want to keep applying effects and conclusions, then we need to define more instances that represent the operations involved. If there is no such thing as a text box, then the statement "this is a text box" is false. This does not necessarily mean we go back and negate all instances of "this is a text box." But if we were applying the effects similar to going backwards in time, it might look like this. In this targeted and modified series, there doesn't appear to be a contradiction or paradox. Let's start to put it all together. Every statement on this page is a statement I have made. Everything I state is a lie. If everything I state is a lie, then this statement is also a lie. Therefore, everything I state is not a lie. Therefore, disregard this statement. The point is that we don't create an indefinite true-false loop. The point is, as soon as we prove a statement untrue, we disregard it. Also important to note, if everything I state is a lie is not true, then I have still lied. Although I have still lied, there is no way to confirm if everything I state is a lie. Maybe I only lie about some things. All we know is that it is not true that everything I state is a lie. Let's look at the same example, but focus on multiple targets. Every statement on this page is a statement I have made. Everything I state is a lie. Therefore, every statement on this page is not a statement I have made. Therefore, disregard this statement. The point is, we do not negate it into everything I state is not a lie. The point is, it is not a statement I have made. Therefore, it doesn't count anymore. The only way we can apply the effects of this statement is if this statement is true. Because if this statement is not true, then there is no way to confirm that both statements are related and should affect each other. Putting it all together, again, everything I say is false. If everything I say is false, then this statement must also be false. So what we get is, everything I say is false is not false. But of course, the only way we can come to this conclusion is if this is true. So what are we actually stating? All statements are initially true, even when the subjects and effects of the statement define them to not be true. A must exist in order for A to have any effect. If there is no A, then there is no effect from A. I think we can actually redefine the paradox. See if you follow. If someone is truly a liar, where everything they say is a lie, then they could never make a true statement about themselves. The paradox is not in the logic, it is in the reasoning. It is when we try to treat a liar as someone who has told the truth. This leaves us with two accurate possibilities. One, it is impossible for everything they say to be a lie. Two, if everything they say is a lie, then they cannot make any statements. This concludes our review of the liar paradox. For now, thanks for watching.